Hello, beautiful, and welcome to the Finding Fertility podcast. I'm Monica, your mentor in uncovering the hidden layers of your fertility journey. Together, we'll discover the right path for you within the 6 essential steps to creating the family of your dreams. We'll ditch the overwhelm, tune into your intuition, and build a vibrant foundation for your fertility. Whether it's through gut health, subconscious healing, or energetic alignment, you can unlock your body's natural power to get and stay pregnant. Your fertility journey is all about radical responsibility and deeply believing that your body is on your side. It's time to stay consistent, embrace trust, surrender, and create the transformation you deserve. Finding Fertility does not diagnose, prescribe, or treat any fertility issues. What we do is empower you to take control of your health by uncovering the root causes holding you back. Let's do this together. Happy Friday, y'all. Welcome back to another episode of Finding Fertility. I'm your host, Monica Cox, and I am truly honored you are here becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. Today, we have the second half of Tania's amazing episode. So without further ado, let's jump back in. We are in a point of time that we need more conscious mamas sooner.
Consciousness is not like, when people hear consciousness, they're like, yeah, I'm conscious. But it's like, okay, you might be conscious about your inner world, but are you conscious about your relationships? Are you conscious about your communication? Are you conscious about your purpose? Are you conscious? Like, that's why I call it the 4 pillars of life. Most people are thriving in 1 to 2 pillars and pay zero attention to the others. And that will significantly impact and bleed into the others. Like, it's crazy. I've seen it, right? Because my mother's similar to yours. My mother had 16 brothers and sisters. She's being the youngest daughter. And so same thing. It's like I grew up kind of feeling like she doesn't love me. I was a middle child. She doesn't love me as much as my older sister because she always paid attention to her more and all the things. And so I later had to realize that she didn't know how. She was neglected. And my sister had health issues, which I didn't understand at the time when I was younger, but she had health issues, which makes sense when my mom felt the need to take care of her and defend her more. She saw my strength, all of the stuff. And I could have continued to play the victim. And once again, it's never to justify it. You were completely justified in how you felt as a child. And I don't think it's right when people say, like, get over it, people have it worse or anything. No, you're justified. This is the worst that it got for you, and that's your story. But it's about saying, okay, but this is my story. What's her story? And then you start to feel bad. My mom was a young mom, all of this stuff. And yeah, it's really powerful. But when you think about like conscious, it's conscious in terms of what am I bringing? How am I approaching this conversation? How am I approaching this situation with my partner? How am I approaching the situation with my child? How am I approaching the situation with my health, with my purpose? And that conversation needs to happen often for you to be able to reflect. Like, to me, that's consciousness. I'm looking at all of this and saying, am I vibrating at a high enough frequency or am I running low? While I'm sitting here and I can't stand the new age spiritual realm of modern age. Pardon my French. I think it's fucking BS because it's like, oh, I'm an energy healer and I'm helping all of these people heal. By the way, like, my life is shit. Right. And if you can't lead by example, and I see it all the time, and that doesn't mean that you don't have good intentions and you're striving to get somewhere, but consciousness means I'm so aware of my gaps. I need to work on my gaps so I could be my better version of myself, so I can actually help people do the exact same thing. And consciousness means I got to fix my relationships, I got to fix my health, I got to fix my inner world, I got to fix my purpose, I got to do all of the things in order to thrive in motherhood and life and everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's just going back to that radical honesty with yourself. How are you showing up to the situation? Because at the end of the day, sometimes you can't change, well, most of the time you can't change the person. You can't necessarily change the situation. So how can you change the way you're showing up, the way you're looking at it, the way you're, bringing that energy to it? So tell us a little bit about these 4 pillars that is your
Yeah.
new, it sounds like a sunshine.
Yeah, I mean, I love it. And what you're saying is, so the 4 pillars are, a lot of the times I love the quote that the magic is in the work that we're avoiding. We think that we have to work on our health and find the right detox and find the right protocol and find the right thing, but it might be something else that's leaking. And so I walk people through, like, in our Seasons Power community, which is the new community I just mentioned. I walk them through going through like almost like a wheel of life and saying, rate your level of fulfillment in each one of those. When you think about your mindset and your energy and how calm your nervous system is and everything like that, rate that from 1 to 10, 10 being like, I'm so fulfilled, can't get any better, 0 being like, it's shit. And go through that with your relationships. And I'm talking about family relationships and then intimate relationships. And a lot of the times you're like, I need to be working on this, but I'm like, these ones are 2 and 3. So you might think that you need to work on this, but I promise you, if you work on this, it's actually going to build this and grow it that much quicker.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what made me realize, where I have students where I've literally saved their marriages by a couple of tips and be like, hey, why don't you do this and approach it this way instead? Then watch your business thrive. Watch you show up on social media that much better, do all the things. And it's crazy. Just like a simple, like, you're right. Like, even the conversations that we're having are better. Like, we actually had our first date night in years. We did this. And it's those things that I think is so important, because you cannot have one without, if you're not, you cannot be successful and happy in business if your intimate life is bad.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. And when I don't mean single as being bad, no, but it's like fixing yourself to find that partner, your marriage is bad, or all of the things, or your relationships with your family, that bleeds into your business. That bleeds into your imposter syndrome, your limiting beliefs, your confidence in how you're showing up, that bleeds into that. But same way where you had mentioned, like, if you're waking up and your auto response and everything you're doing, and that when you're driving and you're getting ready or you're showering, your first response is a negative, that is going to bleed into how you're showing up in your relationships, how you're showing up in your work, right? When your partner says something that triggers you because it didn't make you feel good, because they made you feel insecure about something that you're already fighting yourself, but they don't know what you're struggling with to that deep. And so this is why it made me realize, like, I need to help these women. Like, I like to say that I'm a living example of being able to thrive in each one of those. And it did not come easy. So just because you see the view, I want to walk you through the climb to say you can work on each one of these pillars, and not to overwhelm them, but more of a, depending on where you are in the season, some of those pillars are going to need more energy and time than others. And that is okay. You're never going to find the balance of 25, 25, 20. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that whether one of them is 5 minutes a day, one of them is 18 minutes, one of them is once a week, but you are constantly working towards each one of those pillars so that not one of them is staying stagnant while the other one is just taken off.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's interesting how, with taking care of, let's just say, our energetic life, right, to make it simple in our relationships and our communication, it almost seems like the spiritual community is like, it's one and done. Just do this meditation and everything will be fine, right? Where when you think about your life, you brush your teeth twice a day, every day. How many meals do you eat in the day? You exercise 3 to 4 times a week, right? Like, you have all these different pillars to keep your physical body in peak condition. You get a massage once a month, a facial every 3 months, right? Where the energetics and the what we don't understand is that, imagine you didn't take care of your teeth for 20 years. How much effort is it going to be to get some nice pearly whites if you could, grow them back and all those type of things? And with the energy, it's like, okay, how big is your onion? How many layers are we going to have to go through? And sometimes, yeah, you're going to feel stagnant because that layer is thick and it's heavy. And I remember I used emotional freedom tapping for a little bit. And the first energetic release I had with that, I did not touch emotional freedom tapping for another year, because it was like, it just blew my mind, the synchronicities after I talked about, like, we had a similar incident of like mean girls at school, right? And just people picking on us. And I didn't realize how big that had on me. And then so when I did this release, the girl who was the ringleader, like, literally after 20 years reached out on Facebook. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy.
And
And
that's
so
powerful. So tell me, like, how did that, like, did that just solve all of your problems, or was
yeah,
that one big
right,
pillar,
right,
right? Like, tell me that
exactly.
that was that one big pillar that was like, how did that leak in? I'm curious. How did that leak into your relationship? How did that leak into your business? How did that one aspect feed the others?
Yeah. I probably couldn't articulate at that time. It was more about safety around people. Like I put up a lot of blocks around people from people I could not let people get close to me because these were supposedly my best friends, right? And self-confidence, right? Like I misspoke. I At 12 years old, I misspoke and was labeled like boom, that's it. And so, yeah, it definitely leaked into so many areas. But also, it wasn't like I just did this one emotional freedom tapping. Yes, it changed the frequency of a lot of things, but I still had many different little layers to work on that and little pieces, and I was willing to be consistent and to show up. And I think what a lot of people get frustrated with is that we live in this society of instant gratification, and
Yes.
your body cannot hold that much change. Just think of like if you're trying to lose 500 pounds, how long is it going to take to lose that physically? Right? Where if you have 500 pounds of emotional weight, it's not going to be one and done, or even 6 months, or maybe even 6 years. And being okay with that, once you get to that point where you're like, I'm just going to show up and brush my teeth twice a day.
Yeah, and
And
I think that that's an important point because a lot of people, it's very easy to get overwhelmed with the end result and say, how am I ever going to get there? It feels so far away. So then they get discouraged and feel like it's never going to happen for them.
Mhm.
But it's like just taking the micro steps, those micro steps start to compound, become macro steps. And before you know it, your whole life has changed. And I think it's so powerful because it reminds me all the time, I reference this often, like the valley of despair. Are you aware of the valley of despair?
No, let's hear it.
Okay. So there's 5 stages of life, 5 stages of entrepreneurship, 5 stages of relationships, motherhood, and it all goes through the 5 stages, which we call the valley of despair. And whenever anyone learns this, they're like, oh, that explains it. And so every time we're starting something new, new diet, new relationship, new change, like we're New Year's resolution, whatever it is, we start at stage one, which is uninformed optimism. And that uninformed optimism is like that this new thing. I'm excited. I'm driven. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make it happen. My life is going to change. It's going to be amazing. And then comes stage two, which is informed pessimism. Now it's like, ah, shit, that's harder than I thought it was. Now I actually have to show up. The resistance is really coming in now, and I'm not ready for this. It's not as fun as I thought it was. And then boom, you hit valley of despair. And valley of despair is stage three, which is where 99% of people give up and go and find that new shiny object and start again at stage one. First, not realizing that as long as you keep following that stage one, you're going to end up back at valley of despair and keep repeating that cycle. But valley of despair is where you get good. This is where you learn the skills. This is where you learn the experience. This is where you learn the wisdom, everything. This is where God has you in his waiting room and shaping you into the person that you need to go to now hit stage four, which is informed optimism. And that informed optimism is like, wow, I'm not even the same person that I was. I can't believe everything that I've learned. Now I'm actually feeling excited about things. I'm no longer feeling like I'm never going to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And when you've come to that realization and that growth, boom, stage five is the success. And so when people go into any situation in a relationship, right? Same thing. Oh, I'm on a high honeymoon phase. Yeah, shit's getting real now. Never mind. It's not as great as I thought it was. Valley of despair. Most people, what do? They divorce, they break up, they do all the things in the valley of despair instead of saying, hey, no, no. Now you got to really test both of you guys. This is where you both have to come in, have those conversations, do the things so that you can hit that informed optimism. Same thing with business. You see it all the time. I'm trying everything. It's not successful. What am I doing wrong? I'm going to go and find that new offer. I'm going to go and find that new coach. I'm going to go and find that next thing because I don't want to sit around here for too long because it's obviously not working. And so I want people to recognize that when you're thinking about where I got to go, that goal, these are the 5 stages that you're going to go through no matter what in order to actually reach your goal, but be excited about it and recognize at what stage of this 5 stages you're in.
Yeah. I mean, I think anyone who has dealt with long-term fertility issues knows that valley of despair so well. And it is sad to see. And I see it in my clients, not only with IVF, but with other functional medicine practitioners. Like you'll find them something and you're like, okay, you just have to sit in this valley of despair for 3 to 6 months. But trust me, it is working. You have to give it time, and they just can't do it. They're like, bing. Bing.
where it's necessary for the patience, the perseverance, everything. But
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard to be in that valley of despair. But you're right. Most people are going to be like, nope, next shiny object, it's not working for me because anything that works quickly should be the only solution versus the patience and the perseverance that you actually need.
Are you willing to let the timing be more magical than you can ever set an expectation to? Because it's really the expectations that you have set. It's all imaginary. It's you've made them all up. And if you can release those and, surrender, be in the waiting room, it's almost impossible to articulate until it happens to you once and you have that kind of tangible physical proof or hope, then you can start really applying that to every aspect of your life. And when the women in my reality get pregnant naturally, their minds are blown. And like, it just never surprises me. I mean, it's
The
basic.
same way, I had one of my best friend's sisters for 4 years. She tried to get pregnant for 4 years. And this is like perfect proof. She couldn't get pregnant. They tried everything. She couldn't get pregnant. The 1 month that we were all going for her sister's bachelorette, we were going to Vegas. This is, back in the days before I was ever married or a mom. But we all went to Vegas for a bachelorette. And that was the first month, the month before Vegas. It was the first month where she let it all go because she's like, I don't want to get pregnant this month because I actually want to go and enjoy Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. The entire plane ride, she was puking. We got off the plane and we said, you're taking a pregnancy test. And she found out she was pregnant
Yeah. Yeah.
in Vegas. Literally, like, this is how crazy it is. It's like she surrendered. Like, even if the surrender is for a different reason, her everything in her being just said, I actually don't want to. It's not that I don't want to. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm no longer worried about it. I'm letting it go. I'm just living this life right now because I'm going to go and enjoy something. And all of a sudden, after 4 years, her body was like, oh, okay, you let it go. Here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Well,
sometimes that's all it is.
yeah, it is a really magical thing. I always say to people when you do go into that surrender, it has this magical aspect to it, but you have to keep in mind that you were doing the work. Whether that was, a healthier diet for yourself, maybe more exercise for yourself. You did boost your cellular health, and even though it didn't work during the trenches of doing all
Right.
those things, you got yourself to a certain point. You add on that surrender, boom, your cellular health is going to explode. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
There's no
exactly.
there's no one formula, right? It's
No.
compounding of the different things. And I think that's what's beautiful is, and I don't say that to overwhelm someone being like, oh, I can never achieve this goal if I'm not doing this, that, whatever. No, it comes down to same thing, those four pillars, and just looking at it and saying, how's my inner world? Where do I
Mhm.
need to work on? How are my relationships and connections? What do I need to work on? Where's my vision and legacy? And a lot of times I say legacy is not like the millionaire, the monumental. I'm talking about legacy and how I'm living right now. How do I want my kids to remember me? How do I want
Mhm.
people to remember me for it? Like what I'm embodying. And then also your lifestyle and well-being, of course, because it's so important. And it's just like it starts with micro steps. And you start with the first step. And then when you start with that first step, that next sign shows up for you. And you're like, okay, now I'm ready to implement the next step. Now I'm ready for it. So it's not like you're going to be starting with 100 steps and overwhelm yourself. You start with one, then all of a sudden you're ready for two, three, four. And before you know it, you're 100 steps in and you're like, oh, okay, this is how it works.
Yeah, exactly. Before we wrap up, you alluded to that kind of inner wisdom, that intuition, hearing or feeling that wisdom of like, hey, look over here. Like, if you stay, it's not going to be great. What's the best way that you maybe have found in your life that women can really tap into that? Because it is an innate gift that everyone has, but we are not sat still long enough, or we have too much going on that we just are unable to listen.
The number one thing that helped me, I could say, was meditation, as like cliche as it might sound, is it's a quietness, whether it's meditation or prayer, it's just having stillness just long enough. And it's not going to happen right away. For me, I was like doing it for like a week straight, longer, but it's like that whisper comes to you just out of nowhere. But it's like saying I'm praying to God every single day, but I'm not being quiet enough to actually hear what he's trying to tell me.
Hmm.
Right. So I think that quietness and that stillness is so important. And then a lot of the times what happens is that voice can come in the noise. I everyone gets signs, and I think people's signs can look differently, but it's like, think about when you think about something and you're like, I think I should do this. It's like, I had a sign, but I'm not sure. Is it a sign or am I just doubting it? I look for that second affirmation, and it
Mhm.
almost happens so quickly that I'm like, okay, that's my sign. I got to do it. This is gonna be good, and follow it. Like, you cannot go against it, or you are going to make your life so much harder and more difficult than you have to. Because when I started to follow those signs, it's like I don't know why it's the sign. I don't know what it means. I'm just gonna follow it. Everything gets easier. Everything gets better. It's like that intuitive guide is always guiding you, but it's here's the thing that I could say the number one thing that's going to help people when you're in a moment of like distress or you're dealing with something, before you call that friend or before you call your mom or before you call your partner, ask yourself that question. And after you ask yourself that question, turn to God and ask Him the question and sit with that for a little bit.
Mhm.
Sit with it and then see if you still have to reach out to someone else. Because what happens is a lot of times we're externalizing everything that we're supposed to be internalizing, right? And vice versa. And so instead of just having that conversation with yourself and letting that answer come to you, now you've clouded your mind with everybody else's noise,
Mhm.
everybody else's opinions. And then now you're like, I'm confused now because I thought one way, but this person said this and they might be right because that makes sense. And that's what I noticed is like, instead of going to anybody else, talk to yourself, talk to God, sit with it for a little bit, and then see if you still want to talk to someone else about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you're right. I mean, even our generation, right? We didn't grow up with cell phones and the internet and stuff, but it easily sucks you in, the audiobooks, the podcasts, like it's just nonstop. If you can go for a walk without your earbuds, your life will radically change. And I know it sounds so mundane and you're looking for these oh, these big revelations, but I'm like, it's so simple, but yet one of the hardest things to do.
People don't know how to be bored anymore.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't. You can't even sit on the toilet without taking your phone.
Right.
It's insane. Like,
It's
just sit and be bored. It's okay. I teach that to my son. He's like, I'm bored. We've got a long car. I'm like, that's fine.
yeah,
Count how many trees, count the cars, figure out what you're going to do, get bored, let your brain. That's where creativity comes. That's where the
exactly.
inner voice and all of that comes in, is in that boredom. It's like, allow yourself to be bored. It's very healthy.
Yeah, very. You're amazing. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. Please let our listeners know where they can find you.
Yeah, so I mean, you can find me at Tana the Herbalist across any platforms, my website as well. And I would love to be able to actually gift your listeners something as well, because I have my She's Empowered community, which they're more than welcome to join me there. And I would love if they did. But I have a Power Pillar series that I typically give one on my podcast as guests. And it's an audio series, very short, but it's such powerful 3 audios that I usually only give to my Mastermind Premium coaching clients. And I'll gift that to them for free. So they could literally just DM me CEO Fertility, because then I'll know it's you. And I will send that to them for free and have them listen to that and just really absorb that. And yeah, Tana the Herbalist is where you could find me. You could see my content, you could see my community, all of the things.
Perfect. Well, we'll make sure we have those down in the show notes for easy access. And once again, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. God bless. No problem.
Thank you once again for tuning in and becoming the conscious mama you were born to be. Remember, I wasn't some magical unicorn who stumbled into fertility success. I stayed consistent, I put in the work, and I made it happen. And guess what? You can too. And I have something for my loyal podcast listeners, but here's the key. This is only for women who are feeling burnt out, frustrated, and stuck in the cycle of endless research. And you're at a point where you are screaming, I have tried everything. Why isn't this working? This only works for women who are ready to take a radical responsibility for their journey and start listening to their body's innate wisdom. Because deep down, you know you can heal and achieve your ultimate goal. If that's not you yet, that's okay. Not everyone is ready yet to show up with ease, deeply connect to their energy, unlock subconscious patterns, and listen to their body's ability to come into full coherence. But for those who are ready, I'm offering something I only do with my paying clients, and this is a fertility breakthrough session. This is the first thing I do. Even before I start really deeply working with someone in a coaching package, it's a deep dive session where we look at exactly where you are right now, what's keeping you stuck, and the easy shifts that can change everything. But fair warning, these sessions are very limited and go fast. So if you're interested in checking out my superpower for uncovering exactly what's been overlooked, jump into one of these free calls. They're deep, they're intuitive, and they're game-changing. The only way you can access this is if you actually personally message me. You can do it on your favorite platform, IG, TikTok, or at my personal email, monica@findingfertility.co. Not .com, because they wanted $3,000 for the M, with just one word. And that word is dreams, obviously, DREAMS. And I'll make sure you get that link right away. Remember, this transformation happens when you stay committed to yourself. Trust your body, follow your intuition, make it possible. The links that you need are down below. And if you are still here and you absolutely love this podcast, please take some time and leave me a review and help other women like you find this podcast to get the support they need. Help a sister out. Leave a review today.